Alright, this is my cape. This is Merida's cape that I kind of ad-libbed. She is wearing it a couple times in the movie, but it's not as ornate as it is in the parks. In the parks, actually they have, I think it's a teal cape that she wears, and it has a Celtic border around the hood and down the front and around the bottom edges. And I can't find that Celtic border anywhere, so I got the next best option, which was a lovely gold trim that, I don't know if you can kind of see, it looks like this, that I actually got, how many did I get of this? 10 yards of this, which of everything that I bought for all of this Merida, like by piece, this trim was the most expensive. I used all my coupons for it. It still was the most expensive piece of her entire outfit. Trim is expensive if you don't even know yet. Trim is freaking expensive, and I don't know why. It makes me mad. Whatever. So, total, this cape is, I would say 14 yards. It is, the outside of it is crushed velvet, and it's in a navy, the same navy color as the bottom of the Merida dress. So I wanted to give a little more differentiation with her, so I have a navy and teal color scheme going on. So the first thing was this navy out, and then voila, beautiful plaid navy and green tartan inside. And if you guys don't know me, I am obsessed with plaid. Plaid is my favorite pattern, and when it gets fall, I buy so much plaid I don't know what to do with it, and I just end up with yards of plaid just hanging around. I buy a lot of plaid, and I was like, I have to make her inside plaid. So, and plus for the zoo, which I'll be wearing this at the entire month of October during the Louisville Zoo's world's largest Halloween party. I'm Merida, if you all don't know that yet. I'm really excited, and it'll be awesome. But it takes place at night, and it gets cold here, especially when the sun goes down. And I asked some people that have done it before, and I said, you know, does it get cold? Like, what's the temperature? And they're like, it's freezing. And I was like, Merida's getting a cape. Voila, cape. So I had to line it, and this is a very, very soft, light flannel plaid that I got at Joann's. They always have great plaid selections when fall comes out. I love, oh wait, no, back up. This is not from Joann's. This is from Hancock Fabrics. I forgot. Joann's, you can't get 8 yards of anything together at all times, no matter what. You have to order it offline. So the pattern called for 8 yards of each. 8 yards of the velvet and 8 yards of the lining to get like all one piece. And if you all frequent the fabric stores, you know bolts usually come out from the truck 8 or to 10 yards as a whole bolt, and when it's on the floor it gets cut up to however many yards. So usually the bolts that are on the floor are like 4, 5, 3 yards. So I was like, I have to have it all one, and I was cutting down on time, and Joann's only had like 5 yards, and I was like, crap, and I needed this fabric, this exact fabric. Luckily Hancock Fabric pulled through, and I was able to get 4 yards of this, and then 8 yards total of this in one cut. So I figured it being 4 large fabric pattern pieces that are sewn together, I figured I could cut it into 2 4-yard cuts, which worked out wonderfully if you have a hard time buying fabric all in one piece at one time. Sometimes if you're doing a pattern garment that is quite large, like a cape, and it's literally just 4 pieces of the exact same pattern, you can usually cut it down a little bit, but just kind of work back your math a little bit and then see if it'll work. And I figured out in my head that 4 yards, 4 cuts, 4 yards of each will be fine. So it worked out wonderfully. So thank you Hancock Fabrics for pulling it through to me, and Joann's for helping me out with the trim. I was really happy. Yay. So this is a McCall's pattern, and it is actually McCall's 4698. Looks like this. You don't need, it's hard to see, but that's what it looks like. And I did the B version, which is the one with the hood and without the collar. It's a very, very, very simple cape. Just drapes over the shoulders, clasp in the middle, and drapes to the floor. This pattern didn't have armholes. It's just a cape that kind of goes over your shoulder, so I decided to add armholes in mine, which I did. In the side seams, I would say maybe a foot down from the shoulder seam, like the top part of the shoulder seam. I have an armhole, and it's able for me to just have my arms with the Merida dress just sticking out where you would see my arms. It's not a full sleeve, it's just an armhole. But it really works out for this this look, and it's also very similar to the one she has in the parks, which is what I was aiming for. So, like I said, this is really heavy, and I didn't realize how heavy this would be until I put it on, and it was like sewing this thing was like tossing around a toddler. I had no idea and why. And I was like, oh wait, there's like 14 total yards of fabric on this thing. Of course it weighs a ton. There's a crap ton of fabric on this thing. So the next thing I guess I want to show you while we're up here is this little bitty frog. These little clasps are called frog clasps, if you all have never known that. Just ornate clasps. I call them frogs. That was a tailoring term that I learned, so I called them frog. It's just a gold, and it just clasps in the middle. Really, really simple. Actually, I didn't hand sew it on it. Stitched it because it's pretty heavy. It needs to hold a lot of fabric in. So I machine stitched it, and that basically holds it together. No other buttons or clasps. It's just very simple. So this hood is huge, and I wanted it really big to drape over my big Merida hair. So, actually the pattern itself called for drawstring. I didn't want drawstring, and this hood just was so big, so I decided to pleat it to make it smaller around the head hole, I guess you could say. And so I pleated it, and then I took the same fabric that the dress is made out of as a border, and on top of that border is the gold trim. So there's a lot of top stitching on this thing, and I'll put the camera down a little bit, and you'll look at the front portion, and I actually have a train for this just because it was really pretty on the mannequin, and I didn't want to hem it, and I just thought it was gorgeous. And I like trains, but I hope no one steps on it, so that would suck. Anyways, so the bottom of this is like I said, a separated lining and, fabric fashion piece of the front. So the border goes all the way down and wraps all the way around the edge of the cape. It is the same fabric border as the dress. In about I think I made a 4-inch strip, and I kind of kept around the edges, so it kind of made like a bias tape finish a little bit. And then, just top stitched it on. And then once I was done with that, I put the gold trim on. So if you can't see, it's a big cape. And there's a little bit of a train, which is really pretty. It's kind of hard to see, but you can't really see. Oh well. So there's a train, but the lining is about, and this is also a good thing to know, when you're hemming lining, you don't want to put it to the floor. You want to put it a little bit above the original hem of the outer fabric, just so you don't step on it, it doesn't get torn up, and it doesn't need to be seen on the bottom portion of the hem, unless whatever you're making calls for the lining the exact same hem length as your outside fabric. So the lining itself on this, I think, is about, it's a couple inches off the floor, a pretty good inch off the floor, because with this dress and the boots that I'm wearing, I'll back up and talk to kids and everybody, and then I'll walk forward, and I'm constantly stepping on it. So it's a little bit shorter than you would hem it to the floor. But so the outside fabric is to the floor, quote unquote. It's a little bit shorter in the front just because I kind of did this little measure trim feature here to make it look a little nicer, and so you could see the inside of you can see my dress a little bit better. So it does kind of have this bell shape, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's the cape. So what's the next thing I can go over? Let's look at the wigs. I actually have 2 Merida wigs. One I've used for I used for C2E2, which is the first time I did Merida, for San Diego, for Gen Con, and for a couple other appearances I've done in Merida. And it got really frizzy really fast, and it was one I bought off eBay. And so I decided to kind of send out a message to some of my friends that do a Merida cosplay, asking where they got their wigs, because they were really nice and fluffy. And so I was like, where is this wig? So one of my friends, she sent me the link to her eBay bid of one of the wigs that she got off there, and it was $25, and I think with shipping it ended up being about $32. And this wig is gorgeous. It's perfect, and let me show you how awesome it is. Alright, so here it is. I don't even know how long it is, honestly, but it's pretty good length, and it's got a lot of bounce to it. And with Merida, you want a really good orange-red color. You don't want to be a little bit lighter, because when the sun hits it, her hair looks blonde, and that was the problem with my old one. In a lot of photographs that I had, I saw that her hair was more blonde, and it drove me crazy. So I was like, I've got to have a little bit of darker hair just for photographing, because in those big convention lights and flashes, everything gets washed out sometimes. So I got this lovely one off eBay, and that's where I get the majority of my wigs. I did get my Ariel wig off of Epic Cosplay, and I do love their wigs, but I didn't see one that was this perfect until I saw it on eBay, and it actually was only $25, and it ended up being, like I said, $32 with shipping. But it's beautiful. It did require a little more styling than the other ones did, just because when I put it on, it encompasses my face almost completely. So I had to like pull it back and, you know, push the pins in there, but that's all I had to do with it. I just took it out of the bag and shook it, and her hair was perfect. That's another thing I like about Merida. She doesn't require a lot of styling. She does in the front around the face, but other than that, besides keeping the curls nice and curly and not so dreadlock looking and not so frizzy, she's a pretty easy character to take care of, hair-wise, I think. So I guess the next thing I can talk about is the bow. This is a bow for Merida that my dad actually first made for me, and I added on to that with some things. It's made out of wood. Let me get it. Here it is. It's made out of wood, solid wood that he stained for me, that I wrapped in the faux leather that I used for the belt. And the top part are Sculpey gold clay that I flattened and just kind of drew in the center the emblems of the little details she has on her bow. I like this. Oh, and I also added, it's very hard to see, but an elastic string. So it doesn't hurt if I let go. It's there for looks. So I really like this bow. It's very nice. When I kind of stick it down here, it kind of stands here for me. I think I might make a new bow, and I would like to sell this one if anyone's interested. I might sell it on Etsy or eBay. The only problem I don't like about this bow is that I can't break it down and ship it. When I had to go to San Diego Comic-Con, this almost required its own box just because it was so long and I couldn't break it down and ship it and make it much cheaper and more travelable. So I'm thinking of making another one out of PVC piping that'll break down, or paper mache, or I don't know, I'm looking into several options, or maybe even wood and just cutting it in half and making some kind of way I can make it a lot more travelable. And this is very light, and I do like it a lot, but like this, this does chip this, and I lost this piece at that C2E2, which I was sad about, but you know, it's how the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So here's the bow. It's really simple. It's not as big and curvy as her one in the movie. The one in her movie, it's like a cream color, and it's really big, and it looks like a legit bow. This was something I kind of needed to sketch out and do quickly to get it ready for C2E2 when it was in April. So it turned out well. I just really need one that's a lot more travelable. So if you're interested in buying this one, watch my Facebook page, so I might put it up for sale sometime. I will be doing a photo shoot for Merida very, very soon with two of my awesome friends. So I'll have some wonderful pictures up of her new cape, her new wig, the new details of all of this. Plus I'll be at the Louisville Zoo for the Halloween party the entire month of October, so watch out for me. Come say hey if you're in the area. It's a really, really huge party. It's great for kids. There's a lot more characters there besides just me. If you have any questions about Merida or anything you want to know pattern fabric wise, feel free to comment below. I will gladly reply to everyone that asks a question and just watch the threads. And if you have any other questions about any other of my cosplays, shoot me a comment below, because I like to do these videos, tutorial videos, and showing how I made these costumes, because a lot of people really like to, I mean, that's kind of what I started. I started looking at videos online, how to doing certain things, and just got into it that way. But I have a lot of sewing experience that I've done it for a long time, so I'm always here to help people out as far as sewing goes. Prop making, on the other hand, I'm brand new at. If you've seen my dragon cosplay or my dragon puppet that I am currently on hold, just so I could finish Merida and get my other Halloween adventures out of the way before I can finish that before KatsuCon in February, which is when I'll be premiering my Daenerys cosplay with Drogon the puppet. So look for that. So yeah, if you have any questions, make sure you all subscribe to my cosplay page or like my cosplay page. I'm almost to 1,000 likes. I'm really, really excited. When there's 1,000 likes, I'm gonna do something super special. I don't know what that is yet, but something super special will happen. Yeah, follow my Instagram, Vine, Twitter, and of course subscribe below to my YouTube channel, and more of these will come. I hope you all really enjoyed this wonderful Merida. I had a great time making her. She did take a while, but I think she turned out beautifully. I'm really happy. I think Merida is one of the best Disney characters that was ever created. So sorry about the length of this video, but there was a lot to go over. So if you have any other questions, feel free to comment below or shoot me a message. I'd love to hear from you. So once again, thank you guys, and see you soon. Bye!